Padre Pio, 1887–1968, is one of the world's most revered saints. A 2006 survey revealed that more Italian Catholics seek Padre Pio's intercession than that of any other figure. Even before his beatification and canonization, Padre Pio's image was extensively reproduced on devotional items and statues, not only in Italy but also around the world. His portrait adorns countless churches, private homes, and public spaces, including shops and restaurants. Additionally, he was officially designated as the patron saint of civil defense volunteers, while informally, he is regarded as the patron saint of stress relief and combating the January blues. Known for his acts of charity and deep piety, he was canonized by Pope John Paul II in 2002 and is commemorated on the 23rd of September. Padre Pio was attributed with a wide array of mystical gifts, encompassing the ability to discern the thoughts and hearts of others, bilocate, levitate, prophesy, endure extended periods without sleep or nourishment, subsisting solely on the Holy Eucharist for as long as 20 days, and preemptively perform favors and healings. His reported supernatural experiences extended to celestial visions, interactions with angels, and even physical confrontations with Satan and demons. However, he is most renowned for his stigmata, marking him as one of the few saints, and likely the last known, to bear the wounds of Christ's passion in his own body. In addition to the nail and spear wounds, Saint Pio also bore the laceration Christ endured on his shoulder while carrying the cross. Born into a devout Roman Catholic family, he devoted his life to Jesus at the tender age of 5. At 15, he made the profound decision to join the Capuchin order, adopting the name Pio in homage to Saint Pius I, and spent most of his religious life at the San Giovanni Rotondo Convent. At the age of 17, as Pio began his 7-year journey to become a priest, he encountered a series of mysterious health issues. These included loss of appetite, insomnia, exhaustion, fainting spells, migraines, and severe digestive problems, limiting his diet to milk and cheese. But this was also the time in which strange things started happening around him. During his prayers, observers noticed Pio sometimes appearing to be in a trance-like state or absent from his surroundings. He was seen sometimes in states of ecstasy and even levitating above the ground. In 1910, the very year he was ordained as a priest, he encountered the stigmata for the first time, exhibiting bodily marks that mirrored the wounds of Jesus' crucifixion. Although these marks initially healed, from August 5 to 7, 1918, Padre Pio felt a profound spiritual and physical sensation of being pierced and burned, resulting in a roughly 3-inch-long cross-shaped wound on his left side. His spiritual director, Padre Benedetto, interpreted this phenomenon as a transverberation. Transverberation, often referred to as the seraph's assault, is typically accompanied by a vision of an angel who inflicts the wound. It represents a wound of love that ignites the soul with God's love while simultaneously serving as a purification. Aside from Padre Pio, several other saints have also undergone this phenomenon. On September 20, 1918, while hearing confessions, Padre Pio experienced a reappearance of the physical stigmata. This time, it persisted for 50 years until his passing. Notably, the blood from the stigmata was said to emit a pleasant fragrance of perfume or flowers. Once the stigmata became public, various physicians, including those hired by the Vatican for an independent investigation, examined the wounds. Some found them inexplicable and noted that they never appeared to become infected. Despite seemingly healing at times, they would periodically reappear. These extraordinary manifestations of holiness, combined with his reported supernatural gifts, gradually drew an increasing number of pilgrims seeking his guidance. Pio's guidelines for spiritual growth comprised 5 essential principles: weekly confession, daily communion, spiritual reading, meditation, and examination of conscience. His renowned quote, "Pray, hope, and don't worry," succinctly encapsulated his practical approach to theology. He encouraged Christians to perceive God's presence in every facet of life and to prioritize aligning their actions with God's will. One of his most significant undertakings was the construction of a hospital. In 1956, he established Casa Sollievo della Sofferenza, home for the relief of suffering, because he recognized the profound need for physical relief to help individuals recognize God's love amid their suffering. As he neared the end of his life, Pio grew increasingly pessimistic about the state of the world. When queried about the future that awaited the world, Pio responded, "Can't you see the world is catching on fire?" During his last 3 years, he withdrew further from life, plagued by feelings of unworthiness and uncertainty about his salvation. Pio often implored his superior, "Grant me the obedience to die." On September 22, 1968, he presided over Mass to commemorate the 50th anniversary of receiving the stigmata, but after the Mass, he nearly collapsed while descending the altar steps. This marked his final Massachusetts. He passed away on September 23, 1968, following his last confession and the renewal of his Franciscan vows. Upon examining Padre Pio's body, the doctor present at his deathbed noted that the stigmata wounds had completely healed, leaving no trace or scar. I will now present a selection of the miraculous acts attributed to him. During World War II, Italy faced the invasion of Nazi Germany, and Allied forces made numerous attempts to liberate the country. It was reported that a cache of German munitions was located near San Giovanni Rotondo, the town where St. Padre Pio's monastery stood. At the outset of the war, Padre Pio reassured the people that their small city would remain untouched by bombs. Remarkably, Padre Pio went to great lengths to ensure this promise was upheld. None of the Allied planes dispatched to bomb the San Giovanni Rotondo area succeeded in their missions. Unexplained malfunctions were frequent, causing bombs to fall harmlessly into fields or mechanical failures that diverted planes off course. Most astonishingly, there were accounts of people witnessing a flying monk. One of the most astounding healing accounts attributed to him revolves around Gemma de Giorgi, a Sicilian girl believed to have been miraculously cured of blindness during her visit to Padre Pio. Gemma, born without pupils, was brought to San Giovanni Rotondo in 1947 by her grandmother. During her visit, she began to perceive objects, including a steamboat and the sea. Initially skeptical, Gemma's grandmother was reassured by Padre Pio, who stated, "The child must not weep, and neither should you, for the child sees, and you know she sees." Another story involves Paolo Nigro, a staunch atheist until he experienced a vision of the Virgin Mary in 1946, who faced a critical health crisis in 1950 when he fell seriously ill with pleurisy. Despite seeking medical help, he remained feverish and teetered on the edge of death. Unexpectedly, two strangers arrived at their home, claiming to be sent by Padre Pio, and insisted on praying the rosary for Paolo. They were allowed inside. While they prayed, Paolo mentioned the presence of a hooded friar at the foot of his bed. However, no one else could perceive this figure, attributing his vision to his high fever. Before departing, the visitors discreetly offered financial assistance, sent by Padre Pio, to fund Paolo's journey to San Giovanni Rotondo, where the saint expressed a desire to meet him. This act of kindness was especially significant because the family had already depleted their resources purchasing expensive penicillin for Paolo, and it was as if Padre Pio already knew their financial situation. To the astonishment of everyone, Paolo's health markedly improved after this encounter. He proceeded with his planned trip to meet Padre Pio. Upon seeing Padre Pio, Paolo recognized him as the hooded friar from his vision and became emotional. Padre Pio helped him to his feet and uttered, "If you cry, I won't come to your house anymore." Following this life-altering meeting, Paolo underwent a profound transformation. He embraced Catholicism, attending Mass daily and partaking in Holy Communion regularly. Padre Pio continued to provide guidance and support, occasionally bilocating to Paolo's home, even though it appeared that only Paolo could perceive his presence. When queried about bilocation during a Vatican inquiry led by Bishop Raphael Rossi, Padre Pio provided this response: "I don't know the nature of this phenomenon, and I don't dwell on it, but there were instances when I seemed to be in the presence of specific individuals or at certain places. I cannot ascertain whether my mind was transported there, or if I witnessed some kind of representation of the location or person. I don't know if my physical body was present or not." In 1947, a 27-year-old Father Karol Josef Wojtyla, who would later become Pope John Paul II, visited Padre Pio and confessed to him. Padre Pio predicted that he would one day ascend to the highest post in the Church. If you are interested in embarking on a pilgrimage, the primary destination would be the town of San Giovanni Rotondo, where Padre Pio spent the majority of his life. The Santa Maria del Grazie Church, located within the Capuchin monastery where Padre Pio conducted his masses, has evolved into a revered pilgrimage site for his devoted followers since his passing in 1968. As the number of pilgrims steadily increased over the years, the sanctuary of St. Pio of Pietrelcina, sometimes referred to as the Padre Pio Pilgrimage Church, was completed in 2004. The relics of Padre Pio are enshrined in the crypt of this newly built sanctuary, where they are made accessible for veneration by the pilgrims. The town of Pietrelcina, Padre Pio's birthplace and early home, serves as another revered pilgrimage destination that has gained popularity among his devout followers. Pilgrims can explore various sites in Pietrelcina, including Pio's family residence where he was born, the room within an ancient tower where he resided as a friar during his illness, the Santa Anna Church where he received his baptism, the Santa Maria degli Angeli Church where he was ordained as a deacon prior to his priesthood, and the Capuchin Church of the Holy Family. Pietrelcina attracts an estimated 2 million pilgrims annually. Beyond Italy, there are sanctuaries and dedicated locations for the veneration of Padre Pio. These include the Padre Pio Shrine in Santo Tomas, Batangas, Philippines, and the National Center for Padre Pio in Bartow, Pennsylvania, United States. Notably, a statue of Pio in Messina, Sicily, attracted attention in 2002 when it supposedly wept tears of blood.